India Sales Director, Amidst, who's going to speak to us about this. So over to you, Vishal.
Part of the shift in how attackers think of networks and enterprises is basically, where do I get my money from? And there is a seismic shift that came from attackers no longer going after data as much as after the operations of a business. So ransomware is not only on the rise, it's on an exponential curve of a rise, and connected devices play a part in multiple ways.
In an average environment that we are going to, 80 to 90% of the devices there are unmanaged. And basically this is just growing and growing and creating a huge gap around visibility and control of those assets. And this is being leveraged by attackers more and more.
When we started Amidst, it was a shock to us that enterprises just have no idea what they have on their network or in their environment. We've seen even situations where devices as innocent as a boardroom control tablet are sending out large amounts of data which turned out to be video and audio from the boardroom to some unknown internet location.
Amidst was basically built to be the best in the world in knowing devices, from the basics of understanding what a device is down to the exact make, model, OS, which is so crucial during an investigation and provides us a lot of data that allows us to learn patterns of what's good, what's bad, and how an attack would look like on a variety of different types of devices. It allows us to detect this fast and also to stop it in real time.
One solution that can provide a complete converged view of everything and a complete security for the entire environment is the only way to go, and that's really what Amidst is building.
Hi, good evening everyone, and it's been 2 great days here in Gurgaon. I wanted to start something, so I started with my CTO and CEO message. It's a founder's video, and I keep watching it, I keep getting inspired, and here I am. I'm Vishal Monani, and I take care of the India business for Amidst. I've been joined with my colleague Sangeeta Padman. She is the SE for India, Amidst India. And here we are to take you through the next 12 and a half minutes of what Amidst does, resonate your thoughts. I've met a lot of you at the booth, and this is my time. When I asked Vibhor, why are you giving me a Thursday evening where people want to go home, are probably tired, he said, no, this is a keynote and we will have Enthu, and I'm okay if all of you are a little tired, because so am I. We've been standing around the whole day. But let's get through this in the next 10 minutes, tell you what Amidst does, and see if you have any thoughts around that, and we take it from there. So I have joined Amidst 7 months, and this has been my second event with DSEI in this year, and I love working with them, and I try to do whatever possible in all ways possible to get myself, sometimes a speaking slot, sometimes not, but I want to be around and make sure we connect. So what are we like? Next maybe 10 minutes, I'm going to take you through what Amidst does, and when you talk about attack surface, you can talk about that. But what is Amidst? Okay, so it's a 7-year-old unicorn based out of Palo Alto, California, founded by Evgeny and Nadir in Israel, and then headquartered now in the States. We are about 700 people across the globe with a valuation of about $4 billion, which is probably one of the fastest cybersecurity setup. What we do is, what we're going to cover it all. We get into what Amidst does, and one most important part, or probably this solution is based on 4 pillars. One is to give you complete visibility of every asset in your environment. And when I say every asset, it comes across, okay, I have something which gives me visibility across assets, But typically when we talk about assets, we're talking about managed assets, we're talking about IT assets. What about the assets, or what about the devices that are connecting in my boardroom? What about the devices which are connected to my operation technology or my manufacturing plant, to my Internet of Medical Things, which is the medical devices? How do we get that intelligence? That is what is the first and foremost pillar of ARMIS. What I cannot see, I cannot protect. And I think that resonates with us all in any case of life, be it cybersecurity, be it at home. If you don't know what you have, or you can't see what you have, you cannot protect it. But that's what comes with ARMIS. And second part is around contextual intelligence. So when I say contextual intelligence, like let me give an example of people sitting in the room. Okay, we know that there are so many people sitting in the room. First we have the count. Okay, does that give any context? No. Then we have what are the names of the people, respected people sitting inside this banquet? Okay, great, we have some intel, but that's still giving a name. There is no context. Who are you? What do you do? I know you are all CISOs or IT people and who run the business for your organization, protect your organization. I know that. But when it comes to context of a asset, you know that. And then when we do a lookup for every person on LinkedIn with your names, that's giving context to your device a similar way. So that's when you know a device is a PC, a laptop, an engineering workstation, an MRI system. That's giving some context on what is the device. And that's what ARMIS gives you to make informed decisions. Understanding the risks and threats to protect your business, that's what is the third layer. So ARMIS has a huge 3 billion device inventory which we know what is the good behavior of every device in your organization. Now with that knowledge, can we build the risk for every device in this organization? I know you'll be like, how does it matter to me? I'm a bank. I don't have any IoT or OT assets. I am a manufacturing plant. My plant is air gap system. But the times have changed. Digital transformation is coming. You have to connect, or you are using cloud. You're using internet to connect to your PLC devices, so on and so forth. And also the fourth pillar of the ARMIS story is quick time to value. And I will be covering that in a couple of slides. But imagine if a solution can be deployed in your environment in 45 minutes, and you can see a value of the solution in days or weeks and not months and years. That's where you invest in a technology. So, okay, we started with what is attack surface. This is a NIST definition of attack surface, but you can all read it, but what is most important is how does my organization look from an attacker point of view? I think these are questions which we talk about every day. How do I protect my environment? Which of the assets are most vulnerable here? Okay, what do I do to protect my organization from the attacker point of view perspective? We have to always take that wear that hat of an attacker to create that simulation. Okay, this is what I do to protect my organization. This is what an attacker is thinking, or this is a point where the attacker wants to enter my organization. When we talk about covering or protecting an organization, people are telling, okay, I have an asset visibility solution. All my endpoints are covered with an EDR. All that is great, and we all know security is defense in depth. But when you can get a single view of all your assets, IT, OT, IoT, IOMT, cloud, everything put together, that's where the actual value of a platform comes to play. And when you look at the last part on this is the users. These are all the devices which are actually communicating to your network. These are all your assets in place. So that's what is very important to discuss here. So this is a very interesting slide, and it's talking about the devices which are there inside your perimeter, and the devices which have changed or moved out. The x-axis talk about uniqueness of every devices, and the y-axis, y-axis talks about uniqueness of every devices, and x-axis talks about which part of your perimeter are they. So you have the devices which are on premise, the devices which are not on premise, or because of the last 2-3 years which has taught us we have to take the digital transformation journey. We have to allow employees to work from home. We have to have openness from a working perspective. That's where you get into, okay, these are my assets which were all in my data center, protected, everything was hunky-dory. You could not see an attack. You have some controls in place, and that was enough. But is that enough anymore? Because this perimeter is diminishing, and it's going to be like that for a very long time, looks like, because more news coming in. I see people wearing masks today morning. It is not the right time, but yeah, we have to do that. We have to live with it. So that's where is the actual problem we are looking at. It's more from a perspective of whether I can have visibility across all these devices, and can I build controls to protect my assets. So what if you could have a live map of all devices? So look at Amidst as a solution which can give you a live map, actually a 3-dimensional live map of all the assets in your environment. Here you are able to slice and dice the way you want to look at your environment, the way the assets are placed in your organization, manage assets, unmanaged assets, so on and so forth. But that's what is the base. So that's the fundamental of the solution, and we get these device information from all sources: IT, OT, IoT, unmanaged, managed devices, cloud, etc. Now, as I said, we build a context on every device. So you have information, as I told you, the number of people inside this room, there is some information around it. But what if I can give a context to every device? That's enriching the data which is there on your assets. Then we create a relationship between how these devices talk to other devices in the organization, talk back to the network, and create a context to every device. How important are these devices in the organization, and what is their role? So how do you know what are the critical assets in the organization versus what needs to, what are the most critical assets or the crown jewels from the perspective? And then with the Amidst research and the threat intel that Amidst provides, which is the 3 billion knowledge base and the 16 billion unique profiles of all devices, we are able to detect vulnerabilities and do a passive risk assessment for all your devices. This solution deploys without any agent. This doesn't require any active scanning, and look at this from a overall IT, OT, IoT security perspective, not just your managed assets. And then you could actually manage and secure and create a security layer where once you have the visibility, you build a context on it, and then you want to protect. Because if you find a malicious activity happening on a certain device, are you able to use Amidst to go and block that on a firewall? Yes, you can. Or so many other integrations with other solutions in your IT and IT security systems. And first, one important part is, what is Amidst? Is a SaaS-based platform. As I mentioned earlier, it gets deployed and as got speed as 45 minutes, at the least we can say. And we have hundreds of integrations with your existing solutions, so that we help those existing solutions work better because of the integration, and give that asset knowledge to those solutions. We can update your CMDB, we can block an IP through your firewall, we can put a malicious device to the quarantine zone in a network access control, so on and so forth. So this is, and because of these integrations, we are able to give you one profile where you see all the attributes of every asset in your organization. So as I mentioned earlier, all 3 billion devices which we have monitored, we have been able to qualify them into 16 million unique profiles. So asset fingerprinting, knowing what every asset is, remove deduplication by integrating with your CMDB, because there is a lot of duplicate information of every asset. Can we do that? Can we deduplicate it? Data overlay and enrichment, wherein we can get data from different sources and give you a clear-cut risk behavior or profile of every asset. We also give you adaptive risk score, and this ARMIS research helps in creating that risk score for every device. We can also do anomaly detection from perspective of, can we figure out a malicious activity happening, and we can block your, we can help you in taking action in real time, and saving time in your SOC. So I just, this is more from customers which we have seen. Most of the customers have seen, thousands of devices which were not covered as part of the solution because they were never discovered, and that's where ARMIS adds value. We gave intelligence to a lot of customers by reduction and reduce their time to look at alerts in their SOC. And of course, when I said the solution is on cloud, so the time to value or time to give ROI for the solution is in no time. There are no policies to be configured when we deploy a solution like this, so you don't have a lot of issues in managing a solution like ARMIS. So we have this has been going on for a while, but we go into customers. We can actually deploy the solution for one of your plants or data centers or environments and drive this for 3 weeks. You test and decide what you want to do, but that offer is on the table to actually show you. We can do a risk assessment from an ARMIS perspective and give you the asset intelligence for any of your environments required. So that's all from me, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishal. Asset intelligence platforms in the context of assets, identity, visibility, and of course, seamlessly looking at what that means. Risks, threats, attack surfaces, visibility and control and detection aligned to that. The next segment is a fireside chat with Cloud SEK. What happens when cybersecurity companies get breached? We have Mr. Rahul Shashi, co-founder, CEO, CloudSec, and joining him to host the fireside chat, we have Mr. Vinayak Godse, CEO, DSCI. So over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you. This is the last feature, and we all know what we are discussing here, right? So when a security company breach, what happens? So I will start, Rahul. What was that moment?
Hey, first of all, before we start, congrats on you taking over the new position. And I was telling you, and I just wanted to share this with everyone. This story is very inspiring because, I'll tell you my own story why it's inspiring, because my dad was a bus conductor. He started as a bus conductor in the Kerala transportation, and he worked for 20 years to become retired as a transport officer. He has been in DSCI for 14 years, right? And I'm a strong believer of promoting people in your organization to the next position, and you would become an example and an inspiration for not just DSCI folks, but folks outside, that if you put enough efforts, you can go all the way up, right? So personally, so happy.
Thank you. Thank you. So Rahul, let's start without taking much of a time. So what was that moment, right? Who called you first, or how you got to know?
Yeah, so I mean, being so to give some context, we at the CloudSec, we had a recent breach, so this is about sharing the experience of the breach and what happened. So I think last week I got a call. I was in London, by the way. I got a call from one of my colleagues saying that we have an incident, and we knew about it because we are monitoring the dark web, and we figured out that conversation which happened there, and we were able to identify that, oh well, this has happened. So the early warning was there in that regards. So we got to know about it, and what happened, of course, what we did immediately was we went public, right? We went public. We immediately informed everyone, and we started writing a live blog sharing all the incidents as we uncovered them. So it took us a week for us to uncover all the things, And and this is what I want to share, right? Things I learned. And the whole idea was that, see, at CloudSec, we think, how can we do things that benefit the community? It is something which happened to us, which is bad, it's embarrassing. But what has happened to us, we wanted to translate that knowledge to the community out there so that things could get better.
So the live blog is what? Whatever you got to know, you'll put it there, right? So how was that live blog that you put together actually? So most of the information you'll not be having in the first hand, basically, but there is some information available.
Yeah. So before I go into the details of what happened, I wanted to share one thing, that the responsibility of the attack is fully on me, in the sense, the incident, I am responsible. And I'm telling you this because when the Uber CISO incident happened, when they were trying to prosecute the CISO, I made a statement on LinkedIn saying that it's not the CISOs who are responsible for security, it's the CEO who is responsible for the security. I am the CEO of CloudSec, I'm the founder as well. I am responsible for all the actions. That means whatever mismanagement would have happened, not when I narrate, it's my problem, not because of those things. I'm just explaining what has happened so that you would understand that. So I just want to be clear. What has happened in our case was a Jira. A Jira Cloud is a software which we use for program management. The access, a user access to that Jira Cloud user account was compromised. So the attackers were able to get access to our Jira Confluence pages using that username and password of their employee.
So what was the problem? The configuration is the problem, or the product was the problem? So where was the problem?
In this case, how did the password, how did the access happen, right? So Jira, we had 2FA and all those things enabled. The problem was not there. The problem was even worse. We had an employee's computer that got compromised, which led to all his passwords being sold on the dark web. Now this is very interesting. The sale of that password, we are even monitoring, so we use our software to look at these things. We had an early warning that this particular password was available for sale on that particular thing. So what would you do when a password is compromised? Yeah. You go reset the password, right? Now this is very interesting now. If you reset Jira Cloud password, the session token does not go invalidated. So now on the dark web, what is happening is people are not just selling usernames and passwords, they are also selling session tokens because the compromise happened on your computer. Yeah. So they actually upload the usernames, passwords, as well as the session tokens. So Jira Cloud by default has 30 days of active time frame. So the attacker can just replay that session tokens to get access to the account. And this is where it gets interesting. If your session tokens are compromised, 2FA does not help you.
So Rahul, usually we take an example, right? Whenever we talk about security, we always talk about the security breach happen in, say, company X, right? Yeah. What is to be now breach happen with you, right? Yeah. What is that feeling actually? And now some people are quoting you as well, right? So there are some security researchers now quoting and taking your example as well.
Yeah. Right? So in our own product pitch deck, we used to quote Cisco's hack as an example. Yeah. So we have replaced that with CloudSec's own hack. So that's point number one. Yeah. Point number two is, see, as a cybersecurity company,